Alright, we're starting lesson 1 of module 2, and today we're going to talk about how to solve linear equations and inequalities with one variable. We're going to start off just reviewing some pre-algebra stuff with solving some multi-step equations. See here we got 5x minus 2 equals 3x plus 4. So we want to solve this by bringing all the variables to one side, so we can subtract 3x off of both sides to get 2x minus 2 equals 4. And add 2 to both sides to get 2x equals 6. And then we're going to divide both sides by 2 to get that x equals 3. We can always check our answer by plugging that 3 back into the original equation. So 5 times 3 minus 2 equals 3 times 3 plus 4. 5 times 3 is 15. Minus 2 equals 9 plus 4. 15 minus 2 is 13. 9 plus 4 is 13. So we have the right answer. Next up, we have 2x plus 10 equals 4 times 6x plus 8. So we're going to go ahead and, the first thing we're going to do is distribute this 4 to both the 6x and to the 8. So it becomes 24x plus 4 times 8 is 32. And we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. And we're going to subtract 32 from both sides. Make that negative 22 equals subtracting 2x from both sides makes that 22x. We're going to divide both sides by 22 to get x equal to negative 1. And again, we can make sure that is correct by plugging that back into the original equation. 2 times negative 1 plus 10 equals 4 times 6 times negative 1 plus 8. Okay, so 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. Negative 2 plus 10 is 8. Negative 6 plus 8 is 2. And 4 times 2 is 8. So we get the same number on both sides, so we have the right answer. Alright, so now we're going to talk about how to solve for a letter from an equation. This is called a literal equation. So we're just going to solve for one of the letters in the equation. You've done this before with solving for y, but now we're just going to solve for a different letter in this formula. So in this case, this is the perimeter of a parallelogram. We're going to solve for one of the bases, b. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 2a from both sides. We get p minus 2a equals 2b. I want to get b by itself, so I need to divide both sides by 2. So we end up with b is equal to p over 2, or 1/2 p, either way, just you can say it either way. And then negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, so we just have a negative a. So b is equal to p over 2 minus a. Alright, the next thing we're going to look at is solving for h in the area of a trapezoid formula. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that 1/2. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So it becomes 2a equals h times a plus b. And now I want to get rid of that a plus b. I'm going to divide both sides by a plus b. So I get h is equal to 2a over a plus b. And that's my final answer. Lastly, we're going to solve for Fahrenheit here. We have the Celsius formula to find, if we already have the Fahrenheit temperature, we want to convert that to the other way around. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 5/9, which is 9/5. So we have 9/5 C is equal to F minus 32. Now, I'm going to get F by itself, so I'm going to add 32 to both sides. And I get 9/5 C plus 32 is equal to RF. Alright, so now we are going to look at writing some equations. The first thing we're going to do when we're writing equations is just look for the information that we're able to glean from the paragraph. First thing we notice is that the diameter of the Earth is 828 kilometers less than twice the diameter of Mars. The Earth has a diameter of 12,756 kilometers. What is the diameter of Mars? Well, so the first thing we need to do is identify a variable in what we're trying to solve for, which is the diameter of Mars. So we can make m equal the diameter of Mars. Alright, so now we are going to build an equation using m as a variable for our unknown. We know that the diameter of Earth is equal, it says the diameter of Earth is. When we see that is, that means that we got an equal sign. On one side is the diameter of the Earth. Now we know the diameter of the Earth is 12,756 kilometers. And it's equal to 828 kilometers less than twice the diameter of Mars. Now what I do know is that I've already assigned m to equal the diameter of Mars. So twice the diameter of Mars we could write as 2m, and 828 kilometers less than means I can subtract 828. So now I've set up my equation. So I'm going to rewrite it with the 12,756 on the other side. So 2m minus 828 equals 12,756. Now to solve that, of course, I can add 828 to both sides. So you get 13,584, and then I can divide that by 2 to get m by itself. Alright, so that's going to be 6,792 kilometers. Alright, so we have solved the equation. Next, we're going to look at this example. In 1962, Wilt Chamberlain set the record for the most points scored in a single NBA game, which was 100 points. He scored 28 points from free throws, and the rest were field goals worth 2 points each. How many field goals did he make? So the easy way to do that is, first of all, we just need to assign a variable. In this case, we're going to say x is the number of field goals made. So the number of field goals he made, we're going to call x. So we know that he scored 100 points total, and the only way to score those days were 1-pointers and 2-pointers. He scored 28 1-pointers plus some unknown amount of 2 points. Every field goal is worth 2 points. So we could say 100 is equal to 28 plus 2x, or if you want to reword it, we could say 2x plus 28 equals 100. So now we can solve that equation. Of course, we can subtract 28 from both sides to get 2x is equal to 72, and then divide both sides by 2, and x is equal to 36. Alright. So now we are going to look at how to show values included and not included as we move towards inequalities. So of course, with interval notation, if the values are included, we're going to use brackets, and if they're not included, we're going to use parentheses. When you look at endpoints and dots, if it's included, we're going to have a filled-in circle, and if it's not included, we're going to have an open circle. Inequality symbols with values included are going to be greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, and values not included are just going to be greater than and less than. Now, we can solve inequalities the same exact way we solve equations, except when you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip the inequality sign. So that's the big difference. So we got to remember that. Always remember that at the back of our mind. Anytime we solve, we got to divide by a negative, we switch the inequality sign. Also, anytime we switch, if we just want to move variables from the right side to the left side, we have to flip everything around, including the inequality symbol. So that'll come into play later, maybe. Here we have negative p minus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 4 times p plus 6. First thing we're going to do is distribute that negative 4. So that becomes negative 4p minus 24. Now I'm going to add 4p to both sides. I'm also going to add 3 to both sides. And that cancels that out. That cancels that out. So we have 3p is greater than or equal to negative 24 plus 3 is negative 21. Divide both sides by positive 3. And I get that p is greater than or equal to negative 7. Now, next thing I'm going to do is graph this. I'm going to put a negative 7 on the number line and a 0 on the number line. It doesn't have to be exactly 7 units apart. Just show that 0 is to the right of negative 7 is all I care about. Now we are going to put a closed circle at negative 7 because it is included, and we're going to shade or draw an arrow to the right to show that this is going to include every number to the right or bigger than, greater than negative 7. Easy trick to remember of which way the arrow shape is facing. If you think about it, the symbol of greater than looks like an arrowhead, and that arrowhead is pointed to the right, and that arrow is going to point to the right. So your symbol is going to be your arrowhead. Now that works only if we can get the variable on the left side. So make sure we keep that in mind as we're drawing our graphs. So when we look at interval notation, the smallest number that p can be is negative 7, and it does include negative 7, and it goes up to positive infinity. So now let's look at another example. We're going to write our answer in interval notation and graph the solution on the number line. Negative 5.6n plus 12.9 is greater than or equal to negative 71.1. So again, first step, subtract 12.9 from both sides. And when we have a negative, when we subtract a negative from that, it's kind of like adding it, making it more negative. So this becomes negative 84 when you add those together. And then we're going to divide both sides by negative 5.6. Negative 84 divided by negative 5.6. Now, we divided by a negative, so we got to flip the sign around. And then, let me make sure I have this right. Pull up my calculator. 84 divided by 5.6 is 15. And negative divided by negative is a positive, so it's going to be a positive 15. So now we can put a 15 on the number line and a 0. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, just show that you know that 15 is to the right of 0. And again, we're going to have a closed circle at 15 because of that less than or equals to. And then the arrow is pointing to the left, so we're going to the left. Now, in our interval notation, the smallest number that n could be is negative infinity. The biggest number that n could be is 15, and it can include 15, so we're going to put a bracket there. Alright, so now we're going to write an inequality. The recommended daily intake of calcium for teens is 1,300 milligrams. Jake gets 237 milligrams from a multivitamin and 302 milligrams for each glass of skim milk that he drinks. How many glasses of milk would Jake need to drink to meet the recommendation? Write and solve the inequality. Alright, so he needs to have at least 1,300 milligrams. So at least means greater than or equal to 1,300. So then we're going to build that. We know that he gets 237 from a multivitamin. He only takes one of those a day. And then he's going to get 302 milligrams for every glass of milk he drinks. So we'll say we'll let X equal number of milks drink. So we'll put 302X there. Alright, so that is our inequality, 302x plus 237 is greater than or equal to 1300. So I want to get x by itself. I can subtract 237 from both sides. So 302x is greater than or equal to, let's see, that's going to be 1063. And then I'm going to divide that by 302. And I get that x is greater than or equal to, pull up my calculator, 1063 divided by 302 is 3.5 approximately, 3.52. So as long as he has at least 3.5 about glasses a day, he'll meet his goal. So if he has 4, it'll be great. All right, Manuel takes a job translating English manuals to Spanish. He will receive $15 per page plus $100 flat rate per month. He plans to work for 3 months during the summer and wants to make at least $1,500. Write and solve an inequality to find the minimum number of pages Manuel must translate in order to reach his goal. All right, so he's going to work for 3 months at $100 per month. So how much is that? 3 times 100 is 300. So he's going to get $300 of flat pay. He wants to make at least $1,500, so greater than or equal to $1,500. Now, how many dollars per page does he make? And that is 15. And we're going to say that x is equal to number of pages that he translates. So 15x plus 300 greater than or equal to 1,500. All right, so let's clean that up and put it down here on the line. 15x plus 300 is greater than or equal to 1,500. All right, so the first step, of course, is to subtract the 300 from both sides. So that's 1,200. 15x is equal to 1,200. So we divide both sides by 15. And we get that x is 80. He needs to translate at least, at minimum 80 pages. He can go more than that, but at minimum 80. All right, that's it for today. If you have any questions, just give me a holler, shoot me a Canvas message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks. Have a great day.